over the place, and it's been going on for a long time. And that, to me, tells you that there's something going on here. I don't know what it is yet. You do. But it's huge that so many people are seeing these things. You know, just that one special fast blast that I read about a fellow who sees a family of them gliding through, and he felt that it was negative energy. Do you feel that way, too, that most of this is negative energy, evil energy?
Oh, definitely. And it's worldwide. I mean, I get letters from all over the world, people sharing the exact same kind of stories in regards to the shadow people. So, yeah, and most people directly say, you know, my God, this was something outright evil. Why would evil visit me? And they're all afraid that, you know, something that they did that brought this thing to come to them the way it does.
You had mentioned the shadow beings with hats. Now, we've been getting calls for the last several years from people who have seen some of these things with hats on, but you say it's a relatively new phenomenon. So in terms of that, what is changing in this evil demonic realm, or wherever they may come from, where now they're wearing hats?
I guess the first thing I should do is give a little background on my experiences in regards to this man with the hat.
Okay.
I had a college roommate that experienced a lot of odd things with myself that I put in my book, The Secret War. And one night I woke up to hearing her screaming like somebody was murdering her. And I'm like, okay, you know, every once in a while something weird comes into the apartment, and she screams. So I'm like, okay, 1 scream, 2 screams, 3 screams. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go see if she's really alive and breathing. So I run into her room, only for her to be, like, halfway in a panic, like, oh, my God, this man, he was standing here. He had a fedora-like type hat on, a black trench coat, 3-piece suit, with a goatee. And she said, you know, usually if I scream or react to something being in the room, it'll disappear. But this guy just kept glaring at her. I'm like, well, that's strange. So that's actually her drawing. That's on my website, shadows.ufotube.com. And I entitled it just as simply The Hat Man. And over the years that I've had this drawing up on my site, I believe, you know, in the past year or two, well, actually it's been about a year, that most of the letters that I receive are in regards to this drawing of the Hat Man. And the stories that are coming in are just mind-blowing. And most of the people are like, he's the devil, isn't he? Is that who this was? He's the devil. You know, is this a demon? But it's usually they say the devil, Satan. It's just a feeling that they get outright. And this guy has shown up in very peculiar places. And why I mentioned earlier, you know, to have the courage to come forward on this also is because, you know, sometimes giving the extra energy to such a thing, you know, more people around me tend to have odd experiences concerning him or even shadow people. They don't bug me so much anymore. They go after the people closest to me now because it bothers me that, you know, they're being bothered. So I actually had several occasions that I was close to calling your show to discuss, you know, what's going on in regards to this man showing up all over the world. And, you know, my friends will suddenly start calling me saying, Heidi, what are you involved in? Because I'm having some crazy things going on, you know. And I'm like, oh, crap, you know, I gotta back off from this again, you know, because so many people are you know, having so many odd things happen to them. And I feel guilty for it.
Do we know if he can visit more than one person at any given time?
That I am certain of. I've got letters from, you know, everywhere, all over the world. And I don't really fully understand what it is he's truly after. What he seems to do to most of the people that are contacting me and sending in their letters to me, he comes to them while they're sleeping or in a dark room or whatever, and he'll just come and stand at their bed and stare at them. And the feeling of, like, terror and evil that they feel coming off this guy is enough to drive a person insane. The reports that are coming in are just horrific.
Does he ever take the hat off?
I do receive some letters that say, he just had a suit on, but most of them it's with this fedora-type hat with the trench coat and the three-piece suit. And sometimes they can see a face, other times they cannot. And, you hear of holy encounters happening all over the world to all sorts of people who feel unworthy for what they see, whether it's visions of Mary or Jesus or angels. These unholy encounters seem to be happening to people who are undeserving as well. I think the biggest concern that I have in people that are writing me that, am I welcoming the devil that he would show up like this to me? What's going on? And it's not always just the one time. Oftentimes it's several occasions that they've seen this man. And it's really bothering these people. They're thinking, my gosh, I better get myself into church or something. And, but I'm trying to let people know that, it's happening to all kinds of people. One of my best friends and I were sitting in a car, chatting, carrying on conversation.
Yeah.
And she looks in the rearview mirror, and he's sitting in the back seat.
Oh, gosh, don't tell me that.
Yes. And I'm like, where? I turn around. She said, oh, my God, he's gone. What the heck? That's the guy from your website. And I'm like, great.
How would you like to be driving your car when you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That's like pulling over and going off a cliff or something like that. That's a horrible feeling.
Oh, God. It happened to my sister also. Actually, it happened to her first. And she was about to back up her car. I looked in her rearview mirror, and he's in the back seat. Awful.
Have you ever had any reports that people have been physically, not because they got into accidents or anything like that, we'll get into that later, but that they have been physically harmed by this shadow creature, the hat creature, or any others?
The number one action, if there is any, by shadow people doing to people that I receive, are them waking up to the shadow sitting on top of their chest, choking them. So that's probably...
While they were in their sleep state, and then they wake up?
Yeah, they wake up because they feel they're choking, and they look to see this shadowy mass over them in the shape of a cloud or in the shape of like a humanoid body, but it's a shadowy mass still. And even one person reported to me that he couldn't see anything on top of him until he looked to his like shadow being cast on the wall, and he saw the shape of a shadow person on top of him choking him. Now,
these are the same people who sometimes have reported the old hag syndrome, and you, of course, know what that is.
The old hag syndrome. Explain that one to me.
That's the little old lady that they see trying to choke them at night or take their breath away. It's similarities to shadow people, except they physically can see this old hag, and just horrible. And she's choking people and stuff. And myth says that children who have seen this creature tend to grow up and they're more sickly than other people.
Oh, I had heard of something similar, but I hadn't heard of the old hag lady.
Okay, well, all right, but in this case, then you're saying that some people report that they get choked. How do they fight this shadow person off then? How do they get it to stop from choking them or to disappear?
A lot of the people, including myself, I haven't been choked by these guys, but it's like when you learn to let go of your fear of them, they seem to go about their business. If you can get a word out, you can also use, things that are positive to say, in Jesus' name, get out. Things, anything that's positive that might influence the negative aspects of these creatures. A lot of people I know that get totally like terrorized by these things for years write me, and they're like, my God, what do I do? This thing is going on, and I tell them, I'm like, well, first off, like if you're in your conscious waking state and you're not, being totally victimized by them at that point, have no doubts that you can indeed get rid of these guys, that they'll have no power over you. And number two,